exciting for me, and thank you all for being here. This, by our reckoning, is the most watched and greatest attended book launch ever. I'm amazed that we were able to pack 7,000 people in here, and it's the best. This really is the best, and we've got some good words for you. We have good words, some of the best words, and that's what we'll be doing today. And that is the last alternative fact you will hear all day, because he makes me ill. Enough of that. I'm going to turn the mic over to Ann Day, who is my friend, a mentor, my publisher, a good friend to Kate, and a Sir Thriver. And Ann, over to you.
I'm not as tall as Don, so I'm going to lower this down a bit. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this exciting event this afternoon. Writing a book isn't really for the faint of heart. You know, there's something like 80% North Americans who want to write a book, but in actual fact, it's probably a very small percentage that follow through and do it, and Don did. One of the most exciting moments, I think, I've written 5 books, so I can speak from experience, is the moment when you have the first proof copy of your book in your hands. After having children, that's probably the most exciting piece, because often it's taken longer than 9 months, in fact. And it's just you've given birth again, if you like. As he mentioned, I'm a member of this exclusive club, and I was 39 when I was first diagnosed. My daughters were small, and denial was my friend at that time, because death certainly wasn't an option. Unfortunately, 15 years later, I'd forgotten that once you're a member of this club, you are for life, and I got diagnosed again. But I'm not going to give you a pity party story, because really there are some great things about being diagnosed with cancer. And one of them is that it really makes you focus on what's important to you, and you find out that people really care and love you. And really, I mean, it's maybe a drastic way to find that out, but and I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not all doom and gloom. I'm sure you'll hear from the other speakers that Don has arranged for this afternoon that it isn't all bad news. But one of the things I wanted to say was I think Don's book is really needed, because I think for the family of the patient, it's really hard. I think for the patient, we're just struggling to get through the chemo and all the different treatments, and that's all we can focus on until maybe afterwards, and then we start thinking, oh my God, I could have died. But I think for the family, they're the ones that are worried. They're the ones that are caring for you and have a hard time sometimes coping with it. So I really think that Don's book will be helpful to so many families. I started my publishing company in June of last year, and ironically, 3 of the books are about breast cancer. One was about a woman's story. The second one was a woman who hooked rugs as a way of coping with her diagnosis, and each rug represented a different stage in terms of how she felt about herself. And the last book was Dawn's. So I think it's great that people are speaking out, because if you think about it, years ago, this was the C word. Nobody talked about it. Nobody did anything. I had a neighbor who would make meals for us. Didn't really know her that well, but when I had finished chemo, she would bring up a meal for us. So much so that the kids said, "Do you think Mrs. Davis does lunches?" Anyway, now we get to the man of the day, Don. And he had, again, given me a little script, but I have to say something first, because I've spent most of my career working with women. And so I've actually very rarely worked with men. You're probably one of the first, Don. And what a way to start. You were terrific. You know. So Don is a husband, a father, a believer in work-life integration, and a professional writer and branding consultant who writes every day about events, and he has 2 blogs and several social media sites. He tries always to maintain a childlike sense of wonder and curiosity, and he sometimes succeeds. He's also one of my authors from Full Circle Publishing, Don Kerr.
And the only reason you're able to work with me is because Katie's beaten me into it. Katie often tells the story about when she first came to Canada, where she was hired, that at that time I was her boss. And I hired Katie when she came here. And she quickly points out that that ended the day we got married. That relationship was completely reversed. As Katie mentioned, we had hoped to have some music here today, but we have a plague going through Oakville. And our singer, Cosima Grunsky, unfortunately came down with that plague, so was unable to join us. Now, my father-in-law very kindly offered to step up and perform. He has a very, very moving rendition of a song called The Pheasant Plucker. If we've got time, Roger, where are you? If we've got time, I'll try and, I'll try and squeeze you in, but no, I think we're pretty tight for time. But thank you for that. This book wouldn't have been possible, and we wouldn't be here today if not for one person, besides Kate. And I didn't even know this person. I had no idea who she was. I do now. And I want her to come up here. And Carolina, come up here, please. Come. When we were in our Kickstarter campaign, where I needed to raise the funds to get this book off the ground, we got down to very short strokes. And first of all, I want to thank all of you here for the support you provided there. Right up here now. Come on, right up here. At the very last moment, I received an email from this woman, and I said to Kate, I said, who is this person? And she said, I used to work with Carolina at Kraft. No, keep. Come, closer. Right over here. Carolina stepped up right at the end. I'm gonna get verklempt here. Put us over the top with an incredible nation. I love it. You just say a few words. What? You didn't want to push Davis or anything like that? There you go. Thank you. Okay. Now, back to the pheasant plucker. During our lifetime, we're lucky if we have a couple of exceptional teachers. I can count on the fingers of one hand how many exceptional teachers I've had. And here today, I was preceded by 4 remarkable teachers. I am amazed. I was thinking as I was coming up here, thinking like, I got nothing. I got nothing to do here. We're done. But it has been one of the unexpected pleasures that arose out of this traumatic circumstance for me to be exposed to people such as the women you've heard today. They are remarkable. My greatest teacher also happens to be the love of my life, the mother of my children, an incredibly wise young woman, wise beyond her years, has come through the cauldron, emerged truly a better person, and is desperately trying to drag me kicking and screaming into improvement as well. I'll keep trying. I will. We have a little behavioral improvement session every morning, which is coming along quite nicely. I've got a long way to go, but I am working on it. But the first story I wanted to share with you is called New Shoes. It provides a little taste of the learning that I gained from Kate early on in our trek down the cancer trail, but it also provides an insight into how you can find some beauty in the wreckage. Now, I have to be careful here. My mother-in-law is sitting right there. I am not one who subscribes to mother-in-law jokes, not just because she's sitting right there, but because she's amazing. And I've never had reason to do it. But Wendy, there's a bit of language in here. Okay, so I'll go like this when it's coming, and you can, okay. New shoes. A tree is known by its fruit, a man by his deeds. A good deed is never lost. He who sows courtesy reaps friendship, and he who plants kindness gathers love. That wasn't me, that was St. Basil. Due to the kindness of several people, most notably Nana and Bappa, who looked after the boys, Kate and I got to enjoy a mini vacation at our very favorite geographically spiritual location nearby and a faraway spot that we liked, Niagara-on-the-Lake. Making our way from the car park to our hotel, the Prince of Wales, Kate barked an epithet. I've forgotten my fucking trainers. Now, from my perspective, forgetting to bring running shoes on a holiday is a good thing. But as Kate is firmly committed to her fitness, this posed a real problem. Part of her vacation enjoyment is making the time to engage in her workouts. While checking in, we asked the person staffing the front desk if there was somewhere nearby where we could buy some new trainers. Now, if you've been to Niagara-on-the-Lake, Jeff and Blaine at the back there pretty much live there, you'll know that while there are many fudge stores and candy shops, souvenir places, some clothing and hat shops and wine stores, there's a distinct absence of stores related to keeping fit. So the answer was no. But immediately, this fellow remarked, I live in St. Catharines, right near a sporting goods store. Tell me your size and preference, and I'll buy them tonight and have them here for you by 9 a.m. tomorrow. I said, what? Here came another random act of kindness from out of the blue. As we learned, the young man's name is Cooper, and during our stay, we learned that this type of response was not unusual for him. He proved to be an enormously helpful and kind fellow. True to his word, the next morning, the shoes appeared. Not only did they appear, but Cooper had absolutely nailed the selection by choosing brightly colored Asics that truly enlivened us and reflected perfectly the exuberance Kate feels about her regime. We would further come to learn that this exceptional sensitivity to service in both responding to and anticipating our needs was not limited to Cooper. Given Kate's dietary restrictions, again part of her recreation program, dining out can pose a challenge. One quick briefing with Brad in the dining room, however, produced wonderful meal solutions for Kate, and in fact, I became somewhat jealous as I think she ate better than I did. Brad's intervention resulted in the chef at Escabeche creating items specifically for Kate and plating them with true artistry. Then along came someone I'd not seen for probably 3 years, Fred Gamula, the Prince of Wales sommelier. And he proceeded to delight us with wine selections based upon my insightful briefing, bring something that will surprise and delight us. Anyway, you can take the perspective that people employed in the hospitality sector should be expected to be solicitous and cooperative, but those of us who travel know this not to be necessarily true. Many times we encounter surly individuals who clearly don't like what they do and figure it is their job to ensure we know what a tremendous service they perform merely by acknowledging our presence. This experience offered a refreshing change of pace that you will find of increasing importance as you take this trek. Last week, Nana, you can, okay. Last week, I attended a memorial service in Toronto at Metropolitan United for my Aunt Jean Stinson. It was powerful and beautiful. The commentary and music were imbued with her spirit. The minister offered a moving remembrance of Jean, and within his sermon observed that what we all have in common is a need to tell stories. It's how we relate to each other. He proclaimed that we all have a book within us, and we collectively progress by telling others what we found on our journey through life. It's how we can converse effectively. What did you find when you experienced that? Something I found during the past 5 years of riding shotgun is that we are surrounded by caring and supportive people. You're here now, in this room. It's almost cliche to say that it takes a village. No, it's not almost, it is. It is, however, real that we made our way down the cancer trail with exactly such support. The next story I want to read is entitled Wakanda, and it was largely written by someone else. It's a letter sent to me by my late friend and mentor, Brian Blackstock. He articulated powerfully what I found challenging to express, and what Katie referred to in her presentation, where she showed the circle of friends and supporters that helped us. And I wanted this to be my closing story today because it relates directly to each one of you in this room, and our thanks and love for each of you. Wakanda. This book features several entries that make reference to Camp Mazenah, the camp I attended as a kid. Located north of Belleville, Ontario, on Lake Mazenah, home to Bon Echo Provincial Park and the beautiful cliffs. I spent many years on these shores as a camper, guide, counselor, and director. It was where I embarked on my recovery from my adoptive mother's death in 1967, and where I found solace, strength, and encouragement from some of the most memorable people I will ever have the good fortune to meet. One of those people was J. Brian Blackstock. Brian was a teacher. Although retired, he remained someone from whom I learned. Early on in our cancer trek, he sent a note to Kate. Although I share this with some hesitation, I do so as it is a great example of how a network of supporters means so very much to patients and caregivers alike. There are some embarrassing bits in this note, but in the interest of full disclosure, I will share them. Just before I do this is part of where Katie goes. Katie tells me I have no filters, and so that's probably true. That's years of psychotherapy. Doesn't seem to fix that either. Where are you, Paul, right? Yeah, this is my boy. Brian wrote, to Kate and her team, how, to you all. British translation, jolly good. It was good to see the spread in Metro News. I remember 2 or 3 doctors telling me that, in their experience, everyone reacts to cancer in a different way. Kate, to have such a terrific team to support you must be a kind of medicine in itself. Your parents, Andy, Alexandra, John, and Dawn, along with Gabe and Sam, how formidable a group. Also, Kate, please know that there are many of us just on the bench, because it is hard for us to be there, who every day are asking Wakanda to send down his sacred fire and burn those cells away. PK, that's PK Hambly, who was one of the founders of Camp Mazenah, always said, the most important thing we put on every day is the expression on our face. You all look terrific. Dawn, way back, probably some 40 years ago now, I fell under your magic. If I were in Kate's shoes, I can't imagine anyone I'd rather have on my team. I'm sure Blackie, that was Brian's dad, and PK are sending you as much strength and wisdom as they can too. I know you sometimes have been a bit skeptical of all the up there stuff, but you can pretend, just in case, look at it as a bit of insurance. To you all, my prayers and best wishes. Each of us add our own small skills, like the ripples in the water. Make enough ripples, and we will create a wave that will wash the mightiest walls of resistance away. May the Great Spirit from our days at Mazenah send you strength and the healing warmth of the council fires. As you're reading this book, I hope you realize that there are very many supporters in your community who may not easily be found. It's your job as a caregiver to search them out and let them know their efforts are appreciated. This effort, though, will pay greater dividends than anything you invest. That is the power of community care sharing. That's what you do for us. Thank you. Now, just before you get rid of me and we can all relax, and I again apologize that Cosima was struck down, if you take a look at the programs that I left on your chairs today, I made note of some people who were very important to us throughout, certainly Anne, Sherry, Paula, Kate, but there are some other people that I hope that you will keep in mind. The beautiful lady over there, Sarah Klausnitzer, is helping us with photography today, and Sarah is a remarkably skilled photographer. If you have need of a photographer, hire that woman. She's amazing, okay? Her contact details are on that page. This funny looking dude down here, right there, that's Jason. Jason has kindly agreed to support us with all the video and post-pro today. He shot the video with Alex Ginty. I've worked with Jason on a couple of other projects and so on. If you are looking for videography and production, hire him, please. That's the way this all works. We all wash each other's hands. There's a man there sitting beside a beautiful woman in pink, whose name is David Holmes. It's his fault that on Monday and Tuesday, I was confined in a little outhouse with cans on my head, speaking to, I think, 23 CBC stations across Canada. If you are looking for public relations support, hire him. His contact details are on the documents. Is that all the plugs I have to get in today? I think so. Thank you also to McLaughlin College for providing the space. Lisa, I know, would have loved to have been here and was unfortunately dragged away to the Dominican Republic. So I'm sure she's missing us all greatly. However, it was very kind of them to offer up the space. I want to conclude today with a quote from William Wordsworth. And within it, I hope you find the genuine spirit of our eternal gratitude for your support, encouragement, and love. You collectively embody what Wordsworth meant when he wrote, "The best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love." Thank you.